Antonio Brown. That's Antonio Brown without his uniform, we are told, without his jersey, and running out of the field. I don't know if that could have been a penalty.
All right, Janelle. Then after that, we got to find out what's going on there.
She's got to catch it first.
So that was Chris Myers and Daryl Johnson who called the Tampa Bay Buccaneers New York Jet game. I don't know if the audio was good enough. This microphone is not the best right now for it right now. Based on the computer-wise, the I'm using right now isn't really as good. This is Let Us Interrupt You, episode 12 here on Tuesday, January 4th, 2022. I am Joseph Alvo. Unfortunately, I am by myself as of today. And that was in that Antonio Brown walk-off. I will say this right now. That's the end of him as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. You hear all the rumors about him, whether or not he will play next week or anytime next season or whatever the case may be, because he wasn't cut from the Bucs today. He's no longer a Buck. You know, Bruce Arians already put the notice in there. It's up to the NFL now, to punishment-wise. But I think Arians and Brady wiped their hands clean with it. And this is kind of on Tom Brady because he gave this guy a chance. He gave him a chance in New England. He gave him a chance in Tampa Bay. I mean, how many chances can you ask for if you're Antonio Brown? How many? And I just say the only reason I say this is because I don't understand how we could all look at this for what it is and nothing more than a colossal waste of space that Antonio Brown is. A waste of time, a waste of energy, and a big distraction that nobody needed. Antonio Brown basically, in the middle of the game, down 24-10, was basically forced by Bruce Arians to go back in the game. He didn't want to go back in the game because he was claiming that he was injured. So instead, he put on this little charade where he took off the shoulder pads, the jersey, the helmet. I guess the helmet was already off at that point, but I mean, he was taking everything off. He took off the shirt, threw the shirt in the crowd, threw the gloves in the crowd, basically pumping up the other team fan base, the Jet fan base, and just basically leaving Tampa Bay high and dry, clean out his locker room, and basically took an Uber ride. And he basically quit. That's basically what happened in that game. And, you can hear the stories about if Brown was really hurt or not. I don't think he was really hurt. I think he knew that he was having a bad game. He was he wasn't really motivated to keep on going. And he had his low moment. And this is what happened. And this is not the first time Antonio Brown has done this. Just remember that. Antonio Brown is in the way of Antonio Brown. He cannot get out of his own way. The guy has got some problems. It's not that he's got some problems. He does got some problems. But at the same time, he's just an asshole. That's all there is to it. He's an asshole who wants all the attention, wants the spotlight. That's what happened. He wants the spotlight. And the funny thing is, if you think about it, really, it's kind of sad because, for a guy who was really given a second chance, really, or really a third or fourth chance, and he blows it, and it's like he couldn't make it through the entire season. Like, this would have been the last week, obviously. It was 16 weeks this week, but it's 17 weeks or 18 weeks, technically. 18 without a bye, and technically 17 with a bye. But there'll probably be 2 byes next year, so they'll have more games than with 2 bye weeks next year, what the NFL has been rumoring. But really, all I got to say about that is that it didn't stop Tom Brady from beating the Jets. It didn't stop the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming back from 14 points down to score 18 unanswered points to virtually get the win over the New York Jets 28-24. I don't know if anybody reads my stuff on Facebook. I do post some stuff in there and recap all the football games and stuff like this, but you may put this down as one of the great games of the year, possibly games of the year candidates because of the deficit that Brady was down in, the atmosphere of the fan base, and basically Antonio Brown doing what he did. I mean, despite that drama, it kind of had that game of the year kind of feel, despite of how bad the Jets really are too in this whole thing. I mean, it doesn't really matter because, heck, I said the Raiders and Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day was going to be game of the year. So let me put that in perspective. I mean, there's a lot of games that are up for game of the year, in my opinion. That besides that Thanksgiving game, besides the Bucks-Patriots game, besides the Cowboys-Patriots game, I mean, there's a lot of them. Even Titans-Rams are might be up for game of the year just based on the upset. This right here, I mean, you could argue right now that Bucks would have never came back and won the game. The Jets would have pulled off the upset. Yeah, this still could be considered game of the year despite this. So, but this game right here, no one should be surprised about how Tom Brady came back to this game. I wasn't surprised. I was surprised at who got the game-winning catch, though. Wasn't Mike Evans. Wasn't Rob Gronkowski. It was Cyril Grayson, who really at this point is like a Tyler Johnson type, except he's now more involved in the offense. He's taking over the Godwin role, I think. Tyler Johnson might as well be the AB role because AB ain't coming back the rest of the season. Brady, 34 for 50, 410 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Zach Wilson pretty much had his best game of the year, 19 for 33, 234 yards, 1 touchdown. He didn't really make a lot of mistakes in this game. He didn't hold the ball too long, didn't try to force it. This was probably the best game that Zach Wilson could have had for all year. And there were a lot of those games like that where he won't make a ton of mistakes, but he won't go out and flash you. This guy showed some flashes in this game, and that he's got some potential to be great someday. But just not now. Not in this case. Not with Tom Brady still being around. And look, Zach Wilson, is he the next Aaron Rodgers? I don't think so. I doubt it. He's probably the next Baker Mayfield, if not better than Baker Mayfield. We'll see. We'll see down the line. Keyshawn Vaughn had 8 carries for 31 yards for the Bucks. Gronk had 7 catches for 115 yards for the Bucks. Grayson had the 6 catches for 81 yards in the game with a touchdown. Braxton Berrios went off in this game. He had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown in the game. He was really the star of the team. In fact, he had his best game of the year as well, in my opinion. I don't think there's been a year where he didn't have that kind of game. Anyway, Tyler Johnson had 4 catches for 50 yards. Mike Evans had 4 catches for 47 yards for the Bucks. For the Jets side of things, receiving-wise, Berrios was the best one out of all of them. The only one I got a touchdown reception in the game. The only one I really got a rushing touchdown in the game as well. Michael Carter had 3 carries for 54 yards. He had the 55-yard run right up the gut. And you're without Barrett, you're without JPP. That clearly is the reason why the defense is ranked number 2 in the rush game. Because those two are enforcers, along with Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh. But they weren't really, you didn't really hear a lot from Vita Vea in this game. You didn't really hear a lot from Suh in this game. I mean, you might as well say that. I mean, they were probably involved a little bit in the game, but it wasn't like they were a big factor. I mean, Anthony Nelson was more of a factor in this game than Suh was. And that's saying a lot. Sean Murphy-Bunting in this game, I didn't think overall played that great. I mean, he had no answers really for. I mean, he was shutting down Keelan Cole, but I believe he was having trouble with Braxton Berrios. I could be wrong, but I think he was having trouble with him for most of the game. But, I mean, the game really started out with really the Jets just driving down their throats. I mean, they took a 7-0 lead. Bucks capitalized with a 4-yard pass from Brady to Evans. Braxton Berrios got a 9-yard reception from Zach Wilson. Bucks get a field goal. The Jets get a field goal after Brady threw the interception. That was really the only mistake that Brady had in the entire game. Only bad throw, really. Overshot it, really. Ty Johnson had the 1-yard run. The Bucks had a drive going on. And that's where AB had his little breakdown, had his little temper tantrum. And that's where I think the drive ended up being Cameron Brate scoring a 4-yard run, which was 24-17. The Bucks got another field goal. And then as they were driving down the field, Grayson gets 2 key catches on this drive. One for about 25, the other one for 33. Le'Veon Bell gets a 2-point conversion in this game. Bucks win 28-24. This game overall, for Bell, much better game, I think, as a running back / wide receiver in this game. Had the ball, had at least 35 yards of scrimmage yards in this game. Had 30 yards receiving. He had 3 catches in the game. He was a better piece for this team. And that's what happens when you have two big egos. I mean, AB was bound to explode. He was teammates with Le'Veon Bell before. He had some issues with Bell because he didn't like the fact that Bell was getting paid more than he was, or how he was valued more. And AB just wanted the attention for himself, and he forced himself out of Pittsburgh. And here it's the same thing in Tampa Bay. So, I mean, in this case here, I mean, AB, and this is not the first time NFL players have quit. There's been tons of scenarios for this to happen. But for the way AB went about it, though, it just, in the middle of a game, late in the third quarter, your team's down by 14, they could use you, and you blow them off. You blow off the greatest quarterback of all time, and you blow off a great coach in Bruce Arians. Give me a break. This guy will never get another job. And the only reason why they're going to keep him around even longer is to really just hopefully to win a championship without him and just give him the ring and get him the F out. And then just release, or either that, or they just, I mean, he's going to get suspended either way if he would just stay on the team, and probably miss the entire playoff run if it really had to come down to it, including the Super Bowl. So AB's got no place either way, regardless if he stays or not. So that's that. Raiders beat the Colts 23-20. This game was an interesting one at best. I had the Colts winning this game. I was wrong. I was actually wrong probably for the first time this season. Let me just bring this up for a second. For the first time this season, I only had 2 losses in my picks. I didn't have 4, I didn't have 5, didn't have 6, didn't have 10. I only had 2. So that was a good thing. Unfortunately, the Colts were one of my losses here. Wentz was 16 for 27, 148 yards and a touchdown. Taylor had 20 carries for 108 yards and a touchdown. Michael Pittman Jr. had 6 catches for 47 yards. Zay Jones for the Raiders had 8 catches for 120 yards. The game opened up with a 7-0 lead for the Raiders after Josh Jacobs had a 2-yard run. Carson kicked the field goal, made it 10-0. The Colts kicked the field goal, made it 10-3. It was really all field goals here. Jonathan Taylor had a 1-yard run, making it 13-10. Ty Hilton got a tip ball catch in the end zone. It was Wentz trying to air it out deep. It was deflected by 2 Raiders, and Hilton was able to get a 45-yard touchdown reception, making it 17-13. Renfro got a 11-yard reception. Colts kicked a 41-yard field goal. Then Carson nailed a 33-yarder to win the game. Raiders are still alive in this one, and they are going to be most likely, if they beat the Chargers, in the playoff conversation. So they're not dead yet in the playoffs, but I don't know. I just can't see the Chargers realistically losing that game to the Raiders. I just can't. But they are still alive as well, the Chargers. Chargers and Raiders are both still alive in the playoff scenario. Eagles beat the Washington football team 20-16. This game was really about the Eagles just making a statement. They clinched a playoff berth. They managed to clinch a playoff berth with Boston Scott getting 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. Heineke was not great in this game. 27 for 36, 247 yards in a pick. Not a bad game, not a great game. Had a chance to put it away, but threw the interception in the end, and that was the end of it. I mean, the Eagles really basically put this game away in the fourth quarter with 2 clutch field goals by Jake Elliott. Washington had a chance, though. They did have a lead. They were up by 9, and they managed to blow it. So they are now eliminated from playoff contention. Let's see. Dolphins-Titans. Well, all I got to say about this one was that, Ryan Tannehill played okay. He played good. He didn't blow anybody's, expectations. Foreman rushed for 132 yards and a touchdown. This game was a mental beatdown. Tennessee Titans blew this team out of the water. 34-3. Dontrell Hillard put the game away with a 39-yard run. It was 27-3 at their, touchdown passes from to Swem in the first quarter, and then I think it was Anthony Frisco who got one in the fourth for Tannehill. Tannehill in this game overall, sharp game, not great game, not overall great performance. I mean, he threw for 120 yards, and it was all about the rush game. So, and Derrick Henry is expected to be back for Tennessee. People have been rumoring that he'd be back for next weekend, or this weekend coming up. Final week of the regular season, or the playoff game, or really when they get the first round bye, when they get the number 1 seed, because they're not losing to the Houston Texans. They're not going to lose to Houston. So Houston, as far as I'm concerned, is dead water. Tennessee, they want to stay as the number 1 seed. even if Kansas City gets the win, technically, I mean, and Tennessee loses, they lose the number 1 seed, but Kansas City wins, they get the number 1 seed back. But I'll get into those little playoff scenarios in a little bit and how this could play out, because the AFC is just completely wild at this point. Here are your rest of the scores. Rams beat the Ravens 20-19. Chargers beat the Broncos 34-13. 49ers beat the Texans 23-7. Cardinals beat the Cowboys 25-22. That's another game I also lost. This scenario was basically too many turnovers and too many penalties for the Cowboys in this game, and that's what happened. They managed to try to get into a 3-point deficit despite the fact they were down by 15, but they came up short. And in this scenario here, the season playoffs would have started today. Arizona would still be in Dallas, and they'd probably beat Dallas twice. That I could see happen. I mean, that's a possibility. Anyways, Saints beat the Panthers 18-10. Seahawks beat the Lions 51-29. Bengals beat the Chiefs. Last second field goal by Evan McPherson, 34-31. Jamar Chase had 13 catches for 266 yards in the game and 2 touchdowns. Joe Burrow had 446 yards passing in this game and 4 touchdowns in this game, 30 for 39. Mahomes only had 259 passing yards in the game, 26 for 35. Chiefs were up by 14. And the Bengals just managed to come back and shut them out for really the majority of the third quarter and a little bit of the fourth. But it really did come down to the kicking game here. To Evan McPherson kicking a 20-yard field goal. It was never-ending drama in that game. But the Bengals were able to squeak one out by Kansas City 34-31. Rest of the scores: Packers killed the Vikings 37-10. Bills beat the Falcons 29-15. The Bears beat the Giants 29-3. And the Patriots beat the Jaguars 50-10. Let me just give you the highlights of this game. Let me just tell you what really happened in this game. It was Trevor Lawrence once again throwing useless passes to the other team. That's it. He threw interceptions to J.C. Jackson, Miles Bryant, and I believe he threw another one to Kyle Duggar, which was almost a pick six. So go figure. But this game was already over by halftime. This game was a complete blowout, a message, really a statement being made in this game by the Patriots here, even though it was against pretty much the worst team in football. It was one of those things saying like, hey, we're still in it. I mean, it doesn't matter who we beat, we can put up 50 points when we want to. That game there, that in of itself, I mean, that was a one-sided beatdown. It was 28-3 by the half. They scored 20. They outscored in the second half 22-7. I mean, Christian Wilkerson had 2 touchdown receptions in the game. And you want to know something? And I said this before, and I'll say it again. Wilkerson, Kendrick Bourne, and I would say, excuse me, I would say right now Jacoby Myers is your best combination on this team. Because Nelson Aguilar wasn't really a fit on this team to begin with. I just thought he's not really a top wide receiver on this team. He's not the number one guy. You truly never had a number one guy. You truly never had a number 2 guy. But after this weekend, if I had to dictate how this was going to go, I put your Myers at number 1, Bourne at number 2, and Wilkerson at number 3. I apologize if my voice is really scratchy. I do have a cold. I will admit that. Don't worry, I don't have COVID. So thank God. Thank God for that. But yeah, the Patriots beat the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game. The Jacksonville Jaguars got a useless touchdown from Dare Awubuda Bowoe. I think I said that right. And they managed to get 10 points in the game. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo, Trevor. Congratulations. You got a useless touchdown in garbage time against the Patriots. They should be proud of that. Mac Jones in the game, 22 for 30, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns. Ramon Stevenson had 19 carries for 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. The wide receiving core of the Patriots actually were good in this game. Myers had 8 catches for 73 yards. Bourne had 5 catches for 76 yards. Wilkins had 4 catches for 42 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, Hunter Henry had 3 catches for 37 yards. The rush game, team ran the ball 36 times, 181 yards rushing combined, 4 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns by Damian Harris, who tied and broke Curtis Martin's record. Curtis Martin had 13 rushing touchdowns as a Patriot, and Harris now has 14 rushing touchdowns this season with the Patriots. Ramon Stevenson had 107 yards in the game. They had 142 yards combined by both of them. And Stevenson and Harris, when I think of them as an up-and-coming Alvin Kamara kind of Mark Ingram kind of tandem, where they could just run it down your throats, and that's the two guys that would scare you by any opposing defense. Now, it may be so far to say, maybe I'm just a Patriot home fan about it, but I watch them every week, and I'm thinking to myself, they could do this with any quarterback, with any offense in the league, and they would make some kind of a statement. They'd make some kind of an approach where it just, that you got to watch out for them. You got to come up with a game plan. And they are the kind of people that will be 10 steps ahead of you. Stevenson's a beast. Harris is a beast. You could try to knock them down, but they're just bad bulls. And you want to get downhill, watch out. They're going to take off. I mean, there's no other way of looking at it. The Monday night game, the Steelers beat the Browns 26-14. This was Big Ben's last game likely in Pittsburgh because he was announcing his retirement after the season. Big Ben, 39 years old, 18th year, basically out of Miami, Ohio. Really a 2-time Super Bowl champion, never an NFL MVP, never really a Super Bowl MVP. 13-9 in his playoff career. His milestones, that you can go on and on and on about him. He's got over at least, excuse me. My God, I can't, again, I apologize for the coughing and stuff like that, but that is my phlegm right now, just basically getting the best of me. Anyway, so his career stats, if you had to look at it right now, in his grand total career, 63,844 yards, 417 touchdowns, 210 interceptions, and a career rating of 93.6 in his career with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And really, in his career against the Cleveland Browns, listen to this number, 25-3 and 1 tie in his career as a Pittsburgh Steeler going head-to-head with the Cleveland Browns. The Browns last night were terrible in this game. Big Ben wasn't better either. You want to hear the stats in this game for him in total? 24 for 46, 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. If this was Brett Favre's last stat, people would be shitting all over him. I'm surprised no one was shitting all over Big Ben. I know it's a great moment. I know I shouldn't try to ruin it. But let me give you this stat too. He was 20 for 30, I believe he was 20 for 33 or 34 in the first half. And he threw for 95 yards. You throw the ball 34 times, you should have at least 200 yards by the end of the first half, not 95. I've been saying Big Ben should retire now for the last couple of years. The guy's got no arm. He's too banged up. He's too hurt. He's too big, a little bit out of shape. Can't really move around as much. And he's just a sitting target at this point, Anyway, Baker Mayfield was a little bit better, 16 for 38, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He was sacked 9 times last night. 9 times against the second best offensive line in the league. And he was sacked 9 times last night. Yikes. That's all I got to say about that. Yikes. Big Ben was sacked twice, but let's be real here for me. That's a more impressive stat right there. For the Steelers defense right there to sack. And it was really about the defense in this entire game. It really wasn't even about Big Ben. T.J. Watt in this game was a beast. He had 4 sacks by himself last night. 5 quarterback hits. He had at least 10 tackles in this game, 3 of them for a loss. This guy was a freaking tank last night, and no one could stop him last night. And I got to be honest, if the Steelers somehow make the playoffs, which they need a lot of help for that to happen, like the Colts losing and all that, they have to beat the Ravens, obviously. The Raiders are going to lose to the Chargers. I think that's really the only way they can get into it. Really, I just named that first playoff scenario, but yeah, that's the only way they can get in. And the way I see it, if the Steelers make the playoffs and T.J. Watt is going to face Kansas City one more time, he's going to have a much better game against Kansas City here, and maybe he'll get his revenge against Patrick Mahomes. Who knows? Or maybe, and this is just a big maybe, because this, Kansas City ends up losing. New England ends up winning. Buffalo ends up losing. There's a lot of scenarios where this can all draw out to conclusion. But if somehow New England wins and Buffalo loses, it kind of does mess with the playoff picture because Buffalo becomes your 5th seed. The Chargers become your 6th seed, I believe. And when those losses, you come out as a 7th. And you somehow, let's say the Chiefs drop a game or two, and drop one game, and the Titans drop one. New England ends up getting home field advantage. Let's say Tennessee you end up facing Tennessee. That's going to be a lot of troublesome for Ryan Tannehill, or a lot of troublesome for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I'll get more in these playoff scenarios in just a second, but I thought this was absolutely a shit show last night for Baker Mayfield. And you want to talk about a team that was unmotivated, could have cared less, and really was just trying to patch some stats out there to make themselves somewhat good. I mean, you did yourself no favors if you're Cleveland last night. And Najee Harris was the star of the show last night because he was the one that put the game away with his 39-yard touchdown run. In this game overall for Big Ben, I mean, this being his last game, I mean, I would have put on a much better performance if I was Big Ben. I mean, what the hell happened last year when he threw for 505 yards? Where was that Big Ben? I can't figure that out for the life of me. But he did throw the one touchdown to Deontay Johnson in the second quarter for 5 yards. There was a lot of field goals in this game. Boswell was 4 for 4 in this game with field goals, and the only touchdown was for Najee Harris was late in the fourth. Nick Chubb in this game had 12 carries for 58 yards. Not much else to say there about the wide receiving core, really the rush core there, because you got nothing. It's just Chubb. Nobody else. You got Durst Johnson maybe, but he's got a long way to go. And the Browns, well, unfortunately, with possibly Baker Mayfield being out, getting surgery on his torn labrum on his non-throwing arm, they're saying more likely that he will either not likely to play this weekend against the Bengals. And listen, if you want my honest opinion, sit Baker. It's not that Baker was bad in this game. I don't put Baker to blame for this one. I blame the offensive line for the lack of effort of protecting him in this game. And honestly, the motivation just was gone. Once they found out they were eliminated from the playoffs after what happened over the weekend with the games. I mean, the Chargers winning. The Broncos could have won that game and could have kept Denver alive in the playoff hunt, and that would have been all set. But this wasn't meant to be, I guess. By the way, Miami was eliminated from playoff contention. Ravens are technically still alive, but I'll get into more on that in just a second. Actually, I might as well get into that right now because that's actually the last of the Steelers and Browns game. But I will say this about the coverage of it. The amount of ass kissing that the announcers gave this thing last night, it was overkill. Absolute overkill in this case. So I just had to say that. I just thought to myself, all right, enough. Big Ben with the tears and stuff like that. There were certain points in that game where I'm thinking to myself, this almost felt like the Tom Brady thing where he walked out from Gillette Stadium to a different tunnel instead of going where he originally goes. And that was my first thought too. I'm thinking to myself, he's going to a different direction because everybody else is going a certain way and Big Ben wasn't. But I just thought I'd bring that up. So here are your playoff scenarios. And this is, by the way, just based on what I have in front of me right now with data now at this point now going forward. So this is what I was with the Vegas Raiders and Chargers game. So if Las Vegas wins, they clinch a playoff berth with a win or a tie, and an Indy loss or just an this is what if Las Vegas would tie, Indy would have to still lose. Indy loses and Pittsburgh loses or ties, because Raiders actually do have a win over the Steelers early in the year. Now for the Chargers, they clinch a playoff berth with a win or a tie, and that's basically all they really need out of the scenario. But here's the Patriots and Dolphins scenario. So they can clinch a AFC number 1 seed, first round bye with home field advantage if they win and Buffalo has to lose, or tie, and both Kansas City loses altogether. Like Tennessee loses, Kansas City loses, and New England has to win. They get the number 1 seed at home field advance and a first round bye throughout the playoffs. They can clinch the AFC East title, obviously with this as well, with just a win and a Buffalo loss or a tie, or New England ties and Buffalo loses. Now for the Steelers, this is where it gets interesting. They clinch a playoff berth with a win if Pittsburgh wins and Indy loses, and Las Vegas and Chargers game does not end in a tie. That cannot end in a tie because either way you look at it, they're all 9-7-1, all three of them, and that'd be an issue. And I think Las Vegas would be in by default anyway, because the Chargers actually beat them early this season. Now, Tennessee clinches a AFC number 1 seed only with a first round bye and home field advantage with basically the following: Tennessee wins or ties, with Kansas City losing or tying, or Kansas City just loses. And really Cincinnati has to lose or tie, and New England loses or ties as well. Fourth scenario here is Kansas City lost or Cincinnati lost or a tie and Buffalo wins. And the only reason Buffalo needs to win here in this case is really just to get above both Kansas City and Cincy. Because in this case here, Cincinnati would drop to a 4th seed. Buffalo would move up to number 2. Kansas City would drop to a 3rd if Kansas City were to lose another game here this time around here. I am apologizing if the lighting here is not that good. Ooh. Just moves over here. I just didn't even realize that I just could not see myself here. I was just reading the platform here on my other device. Did not realize the lighting here was bad. Holy crap. Anyway, so that was the AFC playoff picture. Here's the NFC playoff picture. This is how it goes. Green Bay Packers are NFC North Division champions as of right now. They have the number 1 seed, and they had the first round bye throughout the playoffs. So they can watch the wild card game and play in the division round, obviously. And they have a home field advantage throughout. Dallas clinched the NFC East division title. Tampa Bay has clinched the NFC South division title. Now, so far, Arizona has got a playoff berth. The Rams have got a playoff berth, and the Eagles have got a playoff berth. But here's what needs to happen here as far as the NFC West goes. So Arizona can clinch the NFC West division title with an Arizona win and a Ram loss. The Cardinals are split right now with the Rams. They lost at home in Monday Night Football, and they beat the Rams in Los Angeles on a random Sunday afternoon, week 4. Now, the Rams clinch the NFC West title with a Ram win or a tie, or an Arizona loss or a tie. So right now, the Cardinals, I believe, are a game back of the Rams. And right now, the Cardinals would have to win this weekend, and the Rams would definitely have to lose against the 49ers. The Cardinals, I believe, are at home against Seattle. So that will be easy pickings here now going forward with that game. Now, with the Saints, because they're 8-8, and they're trying to get the 7th seed in the position, because there's no way, unless the 49ers lose, the Saints would have to jump up and get the 6th seed. But here's how it would play out right now. They clinch the playoff berth with a win and a loss by San Francisco. San Francisco would clinch the playoff berth with a win or a tie, or New Orleans loses or ties in their game against the Falcons. Now, which I'm going to tell you this right now, and I just think that this actually plays out the way it should play out. I think Philadelphia beats the Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott should rest this weekend if I'm the Cowboys right now, resting for the playoffs. You already have the Division East title. You're not going to get the number 3 seed. There's really no reason for you to get in a certain seed at this point when, I mean, at this point, the Rams are not going to rest their players. There's no way the Rams lose in the and at this point, even if you do win and the Cardinals win, the Cardinals owe a tiebreaker against you anyway, so they get a third seed no matter how you look at it anyway. Overall, they got a head-to-head tie with you in that advance. Doesn't matter how many conference wins you have at this point. You could have gotten the win, and you could have gotten the third seed at that point, or you could have gotten the number 2 seed. Excuse me, Tampa Bay would have been the number 4 seed still. The Rams would still be the 3rd seed. And the Cardinals would be a 5th seed by default, and they'd probably be 11-6 right now as a 5th seed going up against Tampa Bay. Instead, now they get another rematch potentially against the Cowboys, and I think they should just go through with it. Look, at this point, rest Dak Prescott. He got beat up a little bit this weekend against the Cardinals. I say rest him. There's no reason to risk injury with this guy. You're already clinched your Division East title. There's really no shot of it now where you got to really – and think about it from this perspective. They were going at 11-4. I believe now they're 11-5. If you lose another game here to the Eagles here, it's not a big deal because you don't have to play them again. In this case, Eagles get the 6th seed by default, and whenever and I already said New Orleans might be a dark horse here in this whole playoff berth. I just can't trust San Francisco. I really can't. And at the same time, I want San Francisco to win because I can't stand the Rams. So I just rather see the Cardinals clinch the NFC West in this case. So that's my opinion on that whole thing, and I just think that could potentially be your playoff scenario. But if I had to be a realistic guy here in this whole thing, I'd say New Orleans takes the 7th seed, San Francisco takes the 6th seed, and Philadelphia takes your 5th. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. The Eagles would then lose. Because I think Dallas is still going to win, but I just can't imagine Dak resting. So in this case here, Philadelphia would be eliminated, right? And the Rams, I believe, the Cardinals would be the 5th seed. 49ers would be the 6th, 7th. Saints would be the 7th. Got it. Okay. Now I figured it out. I just solved my own little riddle here. So we're going to get into the college football playoff weekend that happened over the past weekend here. Alabama killing Cincinnati 27-6. I'm not going to get into the deep details here with most of these bowl games. Ohio State had the bowl game of the year, I think, with Utah in a 48-45 win over Utah in the Rose Bowl. Baylor beat almost 21-7. That was in the Sugar Bowl. That was on New Year's Day. Kentucky and Iowa 20-17 in the Citrus Bowl. And Oklahoma State upsetting Notre Dame 37-35 in a new coaching debut for I was trying to think. I can't think of the coach's name right now, though. But it's no longer Chip Kelly, of course, because Ronald Kelly went to LSU. But despite Cohen throwing for 509 yards and 5 touchdowns and a pick, Notre Dame loses to Oklahoma State 37-35. So we're getting Alabama and Georgia. Georgia beat Michigan 34-11. Bennett had his best game of the year, 20 for 30, 313 yards and 3 touchdowns. J.J. McCarthy was 7 for 17, 131 yards and a touchdown. Man, my voice is really cracking here. Wow. Really cracking with that one. And hopefully this national championship game doesn't end in a COVID forfeit, because I will go off. I will go on an hour rant. I won't even cover anything if that happens. I'll just go, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go off on a rant about I won't dedicate the entire episode to it if that does happen, but I'll go do a snippet if I have to. I will go off for an hour by myself if that does happen, because there's got to be a decisive winner here now, knowing now it's 2 conference opponents in the same conference. That's another way of looking at it. So that's my coverage of the college football playoff this weekend. College basketball we're going to get into today. We're going to get a little college basketball intrigue. Wisconsin upsetting Purdue 74-69. Purdue was 3rd ranked going into the week. They upped their rankings on yesterday before that game. Arizona was 8th ranked. They beat Washington 95-79 yesterday. I will get more into the rankings as of right now, but this is how the rankings go as follow. The Baylor Bears, 13-0, number 1 seed. Duke, number 2, 11-1. Purdue, 12-1. They were 12-0 before yesterday, losing to Wisconsin in the 3rd seed. Gonzaga's 4 seed, 11-2. UCLA is 8-1 with 5th seed. They haven't played a game in over 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks because of COVID. Kansas is 6th ranked at 11-1. USC, who hasn't played a game in a few weeks, 7th seed, 12-0. 8th seed Arizona, 9th seed Auburn, 12-1. Arizona's 11-1. Michigan State, 12-2. Iowa State, 12-1, 11th. Houston Cougars, 12th seed, 12-2. 13th ranked Ohio State, 9-2. Texas, 11-2. Alabama, 10-3. Province, 16th ranked. Excuse me. 13-1. Kentucky, 17th ranked, 11-2. Tennessee, 18th ranked. Villanova, 19th ranked at 9-4. Colorado State, 10-0. LSU, 21 ranked, 12-1. Xavier, 22nd ranked. Wisconsin, 23rd ranked, 10-2. Seton Hall, 24th ranked at 9-3. And Texas Tech at 10-2, ranked 25th. I mean, I got to say it again about Villanova. I don't know how the hell they're in this top 25 ranking. They're 9-4. I don't think there's not even another team right now that is even at 4 losses that's in this top 25. And Villanova is 19th ranked. Last week they were 23rd ranked. I thought to myself, they'll be out of the top 25. But they managed. They beat Seton Hall, which I guess that's kind of like an upset. Well, not really. But as far as rankings go, I think that's why they were up 3 seedings, because that happened last Saturday. Anyway, I just thought that was I just had to bring that up right now, bring the top 25 and tell you what's going on in college basketball, because it's been COVID. So, people have been forgetting about, college basketball still going on. PC had their big game against Seton Hall last week. They got the win last week. PC this week, I believe, is playing Marquette tonight. And Marquette is favored, even though they're 8-6. And I just say to myself, this is just the college basketball community and the gamblers out there who just don't believe in PC. They're the real deal. Believe me. I mean, if they can hold UConn to 53 points, hold Seton Hall to 65, I mean, that defense for PC is no joke. I wouldn't even be surprised if they didn't get intimidated by anybody else. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, because if you think about PC in most of their games, you're not going to see PC give up a lot of points. Like, there used to be days where they weren't as good. Back in the old days when Rick Pitino was around, they were a great dynamite team. Mid-2000s, it's like, they're kind of forgotten about, kind of in the URI trend where they just get in the NIT maybe or not. But here now, this team, scary team. I would say right now that's 16th ranked. I mean, and, they should be a lot higher in the top 15, I think. I think they should be ranked 12th. But, I mean, it is what it is. The Big East is not recognized. I don't know why. It's a much better conference, I think, than the ACC and the Big 12 are this year. But, if I had to say who's going to win tonight between PC and Marquette, I get my money on PC. If I had to say who wins between Seton Hall and Butler, I think Seton Hall's fallen off the path a little bit. I think I'm going to go with the Butler upset here in this one. Kansas, Oklahoma State. Kansas is 11-1. Kansas is going to be 12-1. They're going to beat Oklahoma State. Come on. LSU and Kentucky. LSU's at home. I got to take LSU here. I don't think Kentucky's really that convincing. I don't think they are. Their defense is not as good. Their offense is good, not great, not really blow away, really. And you got who is this? You got Tashidwi, who's averaging the most points in the team. He's averaging the most rebounds in the team as well. And the rest of the team really is just not really big names really in that team. But, it is what it is. Texas against Kansas State tonight. I think Texas is going to beat Kansas State. I think Baylor's going to remain undefeated, beat Oklahoma. Auburn's going to beat South Carolina. Xavier and Georgetown was postponed because of COVID. I think Georgetown hasn't played a game in like a while. And I'm just trying to figure out, because they haven't played a game in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So who knows with them? That's the only postponement that's on tonight. Georgetown and Duke are on tonight at 9 o'clock in Blue Indoor. Cameron Indoor Stadium, to be exact. I call it a blue indoor. It's all blue. But in this case here, the Blue Devils get the win. Georgia Tech, look, they're a team that's like part of the ACC downward spiral. They're kind of there, but not really. So that's an obvious win for Duke tonight. We got some reports on it, and Antonio Brown. I was actually going to move into Betty White, but this actually just popped on my phone. Actually, I need to bring this up right now. 4 potential spots right now have shown interest. The Ravens, Seattle, the Saints, and apparently, I don't know who the other team. This could actually be in 2022. Obviously, he's not going to play the rest of the year, but they're saying now there are already potential spots for next year already. It says they have 4 here. I couldn't find the other. I only found 3 so far. If you want my honest opinion, Antonio Brown, he's not going to play for anybody else in 2022. That's my 22 prediction right now for the NFL 2022 season, is that this guy will not play another snap in the NFL. Whatever he left on that football field is a lasting image. Is he a Hall of Famer? At this point, he kind of ruined it for himself. He had a great career, great numbers, Super Bowl champion, but it's not enough. And what happened here in this particular game here against the Jets? You quit in the middle of the game. You claim you had an injury, but you didn't because you were spotted at a Brooklyn Net game last night. And I just thought that was stupid, But, whatever Brown has left at this point, he may as well just, do it, being a social media, platform artist. He might as well be the new Instagram CEO or the new Twitter CEO, because he's more into social media than he is playing football. He's all about himself. He wants attention. So I wouldn't want that player on my team. It doesn't matter what edge you have on a team in a rivalry. In this case, if he's not there for the right reasons, don't take him. So that's my opinion on Antonio Brown. So that's the latest on the Antonio Brown stuff. The story with that. Got some sad news as of this morning. Jim Corsi, the former Red Sox relief pitcher, died at 60 years old. I'm not sure what the heck is going on. It's not really. He was battling liver and colon cancer. It was broken in the news by WBC TV's Steve Burton, who broke the news that longtime relief pitcher passed away Tuesday morning at his Bellingham home, surrounded by family members. His career, he's had only a few seasons with the Red Sox, but he's with a lot of teams, really. Excuse me. And this is what the news of course that comes just a day after he told Burton he was at peace with his diagnosis. So he says, I know if I die, I'm going to go into a better place. That's the number one thing. I feel sorry for everybody I'll leave behind. End quote. So Corsi's had a career. He played 10 seasons in the major leagues, posting a 22-24 record with an ERA of 3.35 ERA, winning a World Series with the Oakland Athletics in 1989, alongside former Red Sox star and current Nets analysis, Dennis Eckersley. And he had his time with the Red Sox, and he finished his career out with the Orioles in 1999. He had a record of 9-7 with an ERA of 3.35, 103 strikeouts, 12 walks in just 139 games. And I think that was the games that he had with the Red Sox here. I don't know why they put the stats with the Orioles stuff right now. This is as of the report was on the Boston.com site. But yes, Jim Corsi at age 60, dying in his Bellingham home in Newton, Massachusetts. Well, he was from Newton, but his home is in Bellingham, no longer in his home. As he passed away at age 60 years old with colon cancer. So that's very sad news just to hear, and just condolences to the family again that had to go through this, and he's leaving a bunch behind. And let me tell you, and Steve Burton had a I don't know if you had it in his Twitter post, but he had a picture. I believe this is his. I think that's him throwing a pitch to his wife, and this is him as in heavens right now. I think that's Dennis. I don't know who was the catcher right there, but anyway, he passed away overnight with his family by his side. So very sad news. Very touching picture post by Steve Burton again, and again, very sorry for the Corsi family again for losing someone special like Jim Corsi. Also, some sad news. More than just you hear stuff like this, and it's almost even more depressing. Just Betty White passing away on New Year's Eve. January 17th could have been her 100th birthday. She actually had it all planned out. There were rumors saying that she had the COVID booster shot and it killed her. When she took the booster shot 3 or 4 days before, she was asleep and she rests peacefully. That's what was reported by her longtime friend and agent. And this was called by Jeff Wattis. I got to find the name there just now. But Betty White, very accomplished individual, really just, worth millions and millions. But the amount of stuff she's done over the years, and just what she has done in the communication world, it's just in the acting world, it's just phenomenal. She's an actress and comedian, pioneer for early television with a career spanning 7 decades. She had the Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a comedy series. She had that in '86. She was let's see, this is going back to 2003. She was a TV Land Credential Non-Traditional Family Award, and that was first established in '03. I mean, she was a TV. I mean, I could read off more here. She was a Screen Actor Guild Life Achievement Award back in 2010. She won an Emmy for the Mary Tyler Moore Show in '75, '76. She won a Grammy for If You Can Ask Me, and of course You Won't. She was on a Primetime Creative Arts Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actors in a Comedy Series. That was first awarded back in '89. She got it in '96 and also in 2010. She was in Hot in Cleveland, so she got an award for Outstanding Guild Award for that one from 2011. I believe the 2011 to 2012. TCA Life Achievement Award in 2009. Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding. It was an outstanding game show host back in 83 for Just Men. She also got a groundbreaking show award in '04 for the Mary Tyler Show. She's a Legend Award. Golden Girls got an award in '08 and '03 for the traditional family thing, and she got a Teen Choice Awards for The Proposal. So she got a lot of stuff. She was on the radio back in the early days. I mean, she's been around like the television and radio for a long period of time, and there will be nobody like her. There's not going to be anybody like Betty White that will even touch her success. And it, for someone that was almost 100 years old, she couldn't quite get there. She resting peacefully now at 99 years of age. And condolences again to the family of Betty White and all the friends, colleagues and all that. They lost a great lady, a great human being, an awesome, I shouldn't say an awesome actress and a TV icon. And there will never be anyone like her. and that is a guarantee for that one. That is again for a little. That is a little Betty White. Little Betty White fact. Wikipedia factors that I just popped out of my head. So there you go. Anyway, I thought I could put a little Betty White stuff together. This is actually one of her. This is actually a Scared Straight bullying with Betty White. So here, this is
355. The threat isn't on the horizon; it's here. Guessing this isn't a social pool. Agreeing together the rest.
So here it is. This is one of our monologues. So here it is.
All right, goofballs. I bet you think bullying your classmates is totally radical, huh? Well, it's not. Whatever. Yeah, simultaneous, whatever. Okay, all right. Look, somehow you still don't get it, do you, huh? So I invited 2 representatives from the Scared Straight program. Come talk to you animals. McIntosh, Grandmammy McIntosh. You want to get in here? All right, here it comes. All right, now. My name is Lorenzo McIntosh.
And I'm his grandmother, Loretta McIntosh.
But you can call us your wedding date. Because you're going to get something old, something new.
Something black and something blue.
Now, what are they in here for?
We beat up a kid because he's poor.
Boy, shut your damn mouth. What you think, we never been poor? When I was young, my family was so...
So that was the Scared Straight with bullying with Betty White there. I was trying to find a more of a here. I think this is actually a better.
These knees, you hippie.
Yeah, so what? I'm fed up with this one-horse town.
Now hush up. You think I've
There's a
never
little bit more
been
of it.
stuck in a small town? But I recall my childhood in rural Kansas. I was bored to tears till all of a sudden a twister hit. It carried me to a magical land full of witches and wizards. Is that what you want? Is it? You're following a lion, a tin man, and a scarecrow down a yellow brick road. Because this right here, this is real.
Okay, that's Wizard of Oz.
Ain't no Wizard of Oz.
No, you do not interrupt one of Grandma's stories.
She keep that up, and you'll be playing Twister on the floor of the prison.
Yeah, that's right. And it won't be no lion, a tin man, and a scarecrow. It'll be you lying down while 10 men make you a scared hoe.
So that was the at the time Jason Sudeikis was on there with Adam Sandberg and Kenan Thompson, who was on the show at the time. This was back. I believe that was back in. If I'm not mistaken, let me go back to that.
Make you a scared.
And that was 8 years ago. That was done. So that was back in 2013, I believe. That was done in 2014. Or it could be 2018 because I just turned 2022. It could be like 8.5 years. But anyway, so we had that information. I don't know what the heck just happened. We just lost the. I just had the information about the. Had another clip for Betty White. And this is actually a clip from the Golden Girls. There we go.
Get the door, Rose.
You.
Good morning.
Well, kids, what do you want?
I changed my mind. I was wrong to ask for all those gifts.
Dorothy, you see, I knew she'd come to her senses.
I decided cash is better. That way I can buy exactly what I want.
I'll get my purse.
No, Blanche, I'm not going to let you do that. I've been doing a lot of thinking. If after all the years of love and companionship, Fernando and I are meant to part company, I'll just have to accept that. Time to time, life deals you an unfriendly hand. There's nothing you can do about it. I guess
there's a lesson to be learned here.
Sometimes life just isn't fair, kiddo.
So this was Rose Nelly, aka Betty White. Here, this was on the Golden Girls episode. I guess they little girl wouldn't give the Rose teddy bear back, so she basically just shoved the girl out the door. That was pretty good. That was pretty funny. So we've gone about an hour here so far into the show. We've done our NFL recap. I've done the college football playoff recap. There are a little extra bowls in there. I thought I can add a little extra bowls in there for the teams that actually were ranked. I didn't really give a damn about the teams that weren't ranked then. But I may have missed the Oregon-Oklahoma game, which that was on a week ago, so I'm not going to bother recapping that. But Oregon did get the win. I believe. Oh, no, Oklahoma got the win. Sorry. Oklahoma got the win over Oregon, 47-32. I'm sorry. I may have recapped that. I can't remember. Let's see. We're going to go just do one more thing for the NBA. Not a lot of stuff came out of the NBA last night other than little AB's appearance. But the Grizzlies did beat the Nets at home, 118-104. Durant and Harden did play in the game. It didn't really seem to matter because the third quarter, it was all Grizzlies. They outscored the Nets 40-26. John Morant had 36 points in the game. Durant had 26 points. Harden had 19 points in the game. Harden was 5 for 14. Durant was 8 for 24. Not a good night shooting for Durant, really. Not really a good night shooting for Patty Mills. Patty Mills had no points in that game. Didn't really give much help to this team, really. In fact, if anything, he was no help to this team. Grizzlies are now 24-14. The Nets are now 23-12. Disappointing loss at home, and probably had more of a distraction with the Antonio Brown being there. That seemed more of a focus than the actual game itself last night. But the Bulls beat the Magic 102-98. Jazz beat the Pelicans 115-104. Trailblazers beat the Hawks 136-131. 76ers beat the Rockets last night 133-113. Timberwolves beat the Clippers 122-104. Warriors beat the Heat 115-108. And Klay Thompson is going to return this Sunday against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That was announced this morning. So good for Klay Thompson. He's been out for almost 2 or 3 years at this point with his ACL injury. So it's a good thing he's coming back. Obviously, he'll be limited. Or maybe he'll go on through the whole 30 or 40. Who knows? Mavericks with the Nuggets 103-89. And the upset of the week, in my opinion, is the Detroit Pistons over the defending NBA Finals champions Milwaukee Bucks 115-106. Despite Giannis putting up 31 points, well, it wasn't enough in this game. Great second half of the Pistons in the overall. They outscored the Bucks in the second half of this one, 54-42. So you figured that they had a good third and fourth quarter. The now 7-28 Pistons beat the Milwaukee Bucks last night, and I bring this up because I look at the NBA standings, and I go by the who the best team in the NBA is so far, and look at the Eastern Conference standings. It's a complete change. So the Chicago Bulls are now 25-10, 13-4 overall at home, 12-6 on the way, 4-2 in their division, 16-7 against the conference. The Nets are better on the road than they are at home. The Nets are 10-9. The 13-3 on the road. They're 6-1 against the division, 17-7 overall against the conference. But I'm not going to get into conference and play and all that. But I'm going to give you standing by standing here. The Nets are 23-12 at number 2. Bucks at number 3, 25-14. The Miami Heat are 23-15. The Cavs are 21-16. The 76ers are 20-16. Wizards are 19-18. They've been on a downward spiral. The Hornets are 19-19. The Celtics are 18-19. The Raptors are 16-17. The Knicks are 17-20. Hawks are 16-20. The Pacers are 14-23. The Pistons obviously are 7-28, and the Magic are 7-31. Worst team in the Eastern Conference. Now in the NBA Western Conference, 29-7 Warriors, 28-8 Phoenix Suns, Utah Jazz 27-10. The Memphis Grizzlies 24-14 is their 4th seed. The Dallas Denver Nuggets are 18-17. Excuse me. Mavericks are the 6th seed at 19-18. The Clippers are 19-19. The Lakers as well are 19-19. The Timberwolves are 17-20. The Kings are 16-22. Spurs 14-21. Trailblazers 14-22. The Thunder 13-23. The Pelicans are 13-24, and the Rockets are 10-28 in the Western Conference standings. And the way I see it, I mean, look, the Warriors are still going to be your NBA Final champions. There's no way. I don't think it matters who comes out of the East side of things. But man, if the Brooklyn Nets are this bad at home, I mean, I can just imagine anybody beating them now in this first rounder. They look like a first round. They don't look like a team that's going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. They don't. You got Kyrie Irving back. You got the whole vaccination mandate with COVID. You got him playing on the road. You know, he's not contributing a lot to the team. He's not. I mean, you'll see him in San Antonio. You'll see him in Minnesota. You'll see him in Golden State. But that's it. After that, you're going to see. I mean, you're going to see. I mean, you're not going to see a lot of him. Let's put it that way. You're not going to see a lot. I mean, you're going to see him play. You're not going to see him play against the Bucks this week. Not going to see him play against. You're going to probably see him play against Portland, and maybe Chicago, or not Chicago. Definitely the Pelicans, not the Cavs. At the Cavs, at the Wizards. Not against the Lakers though, and not against the Nuggets. So there you go. I mean, I rest my case here. I don't know why this guy is even around. Why do you want a part-time player? It's not going to help you in the playoff run. Like you missed two. Like let's think about this for a minute. Let's say the Brooklyn Nets go to the NBA Finals and this whole COVID thing continues, right? You got a player who is never around. And let's say you have home field advantage throughout the NBA Finals. What happens if you get to Game 6 and Game 7? What are you just going to play without him? Just going to win a championship? You're going to celebrate the championship without him? Or he's not going to sit in the VIP office? I mean, it's pathetic. Kyrie Irving should not be on this team. This Brooklyn Net team is not that great either. Patty Mills not that great. Harden, he's not the same James Harden as he was in Houston, I don't think. I think he's sort of down. I mean, I think last year's Harden is better than this year's Harden. Kevin Durant, I mean, he has his ups, he has his downs. He just can still produce. But I just think by himself, I mean, they're missing something. And Kyrie is not the answer. So, and they lost last Saturday night to the Clippers. So figure that one out. You know, they've had 2 straight losses now to the Clippers and the Grizzlies. 2 home games. If they keep this up, then no one's going to want to watch them. But I got your picks for the really for the rest of the week here. I should say rest of the night. The NBA Spurs at the Raptors. I mean, it's a who cares game, but I got Toronto winning that game. Memphis at Cleveland. I got the Memphis Grizzlies beating Cleveland tonight. Cleveland's an odd one to me. I don't know how they're this good. Anyway, Pacers at the Knicks. Give me the Knicks all day long. Pacers will blow it up somehow. Suns at the Pelicans. Suns will beat the Pelicans. And the Kings are at the Lakers. I think Sacramento pulls off another upset in Los Angeles. Look, Russell Westbrook is in the way of LeBron winning another championship. Anthony Davis being uncommitted to being there, same thing. I just think to myself, this team is not a functioning team. And even though the Lakers are favored by 6.5, they were favored by 6.5 the last time. And look how that turned out. They lost in double overtime to the Kings. So I don't have any confidence in that team. Sorry, I don't. Later on this week, there's going to be more basketball to be played. Nets are at the Pacers. Jazz are at the Nuggets. Heat are at the Trailblazers. Hawks are at the Kings. Thunder are at the Timberwolves. Raptors are at the Bucks. Warriors are at the Mavericks. Pistons are at the Hornets. It's a very interesting slate of basketball this week. I won't get my picks in every single one here. We have Celtics, Knicks, and Clippers, Suns doubleheader on TNT. Warriors are at the Pelicans later on that week, and the Pistons are at the Grizzlies. That's Thursday night, the 6th. Friday is the Spurs, Sixers, Jazz, Raptors, Mavericks, Rockets, Timberwolves, Thunder, Bucks, Nets, excuse me, Wizards, Bulls, Kings, Nuggets, Hawks, Lakers, and Cavaliers, Trailblazers. That's on Friday. For Saturday, which I'll probably cover on Saturday, which here's the thing, because I will be away in New Hampshire, so I don't know if my friend is going to be able to get a computer. I may do a show without him again. I may just wait till next week to do a show. In this case here, I could probably do one by myself 2 days in a row. I don't see why not. But anyway, that is all the time that we have. Unfortunately, I got things to do. But again, Happy New Year. Go Patriots, go Bucks. Hopefully you two make it to the Super Bowl, although I have my doubts now with the Packers being as hot as they are, and then just my pick of the Patriots and Packers going to the Super Bowl. That is still my pick, even though the Patriots been convincing us otherwise of why they won't make it, but I think they will. Anyway, other than that, go Georgia. I hope you beat the Alabama Crimson Tide. That game is, I believe, is next week. I believe, right? I think it's the 10th. I believe which is a Monday. The wild card playoffs are the week after, and I believe the Patriots are the Monday edition. Is what I've been hearing now. That's been rumored. I don't know if that's true or not. Otherwise, there's not really a lot of other stuff going on. Hockey's been doing a lot of COVID. They've had a lot of games postponed. They had one game on last night with the Rangers winning 4-1. Bruins over the weekend got the 5-1 win over the Red Wings. They had a great weekend. All in all, New Year so far. They came up hunting people down and taking them out. They took out the Sabres on Saturday. There's a lot going on, and there's been over at least 92 games of hockey that was postponed and put back on and postponed and put back on. But I don't know. We'll see what happens now going forward. But there's a lot of games on tonight with hockey, so it will be on ESPN.com. I'm about to lose my voice. Subscribe to the channel. Go and let us interrupt you. Podcast Joe and Mike. Obviously, Mike's not here today, but I am signing off as Joseph Olivo. Signing off. Please subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I do Snapchat once in a while. You can add me if you want to. I don't really use Snapchat a lot. Until then, have a great week. I might see you on Saturday. I might not see you on Saturday, but enjoy your week. Enjoy your New Year's start. And, that's it. Everybody have a good day.